In 1833, Charles Darwin stood on the vast plains of Uruguay and witnessed a biological phenomenon that left him speechless. He recorded in his journals a sighting of a botanical fortress, a plant so dominant it had swallowed hundreds of square miles, creating a living wall impenetrable by man or horse. It was, in his words, an invasion on a scale never before recorded in history. But Darwin was not looking at a monster. He was looking at a fugitive. The plant that conquered the pampas was actually a runaway aristocrat, a luxury vegetable that had escaped the gardens of the elite and gone feral. If you could travel back to the feast halls of imperial Rome or the dinner table of Thomas Jefferson, this fortress of thorns was the centerpiece of the meal. It was prized above all other greens, valued more highly than the land it grew on, and considered the ultimate sign of sophistication. Yet we traded this nutrient-dense, liver-scrubbing giant for the watery convenience of celery, simply because the king demanded we put on a pair of gloves. This is the story of the Cardoon, the wild father of the artichoke, and the gourmet superfood that is hiding behind a suit of armor. Welcome to Ancestral Yields. If you believe the best food is often the hardest to reach, and you are ready to reclaim the lost crops of history, make sure to like this video and subscribe. We are breaking through the thorns to find the feast. This medicinal power is why the Cardoon was the darling of the ancient world. Pliny the Elder, the Roman naturalist, wrote extensively about it in the 1st century AD. He complained, as old men often do, that cardoons commanded a higher price in the markets of Rome than the land they grew on. It was a status symbol. If you were rich in Rome, you did not serve celery. You served cardoon hearts dressed in vinegar and garum. It was a sign that you could afford the best. Fast forward to the founding of America. Thomas Jefferson, perhaps our most agricultural president, was obsessed with them. At Monticello, his estate in Virginia, Jefferson dedicated an entire section of his meticulously planned garden to cardoons. In his garden book that chronicled his botanical experiments, he ranked them among his favorite winter vegetables. He understood that a true garden needed to provide fresh food when the snow fell. And the cardoon was his solution. For the Victorians in the 19th century, the cardoon was the Christmas vegetable. Because it is so hardy, it could be harvested in December when the rest of the garden was dead or dormant. It was the star of the holiday table, often boiled and served with a rich marrow-based sauce to cut the bitterness. It was a staple. It was revered. It was delicious. So, why can't you find it at Whole Foods? To understand why the cardoon was abandoned, we have to look at what replaced it. In the American supermarket, if you want a crunchy, stalk-based vegetable, you buy celery. Celery is the perfect industrial crop. It is uniform, easy to ship, high in water, and entirely unthreatening. But nutritionally, it is essentially crunchy water. It fills space on the plate, but it does not do much heavy lifting for the body. The cardoon is the anti-celery. While they look somewhat similar, as giant ribbed stalks growing in a bunch, the cardoon is a powerhouse of density and medicine. It is a member of the thistle family, built to extract minerals from deep within the soil profile. Let us look at the hard numbers. In 100 grams, or roughly 3.5 ounces, modern celery offers a meager 11 to 16 milligrams of magnesium. The cardoon delivers 42 milligrams. That is nearly triple the magnesium, a mineral that nearly 50% of the US population is clinically deficient in, crucial for nerve function and muscle recovery. Then there is potassium, the electrolyte that regulates your blood pressure and heart health. A cup of celery gives you about 260 milligrams. A cup of cardoon packs in roughly 400 milligrams. To put that in perspective, that is on par with a medium banana, but without the sugar spike or the carbohydrates. It is an electrolyte bomb disguised as a vegetable. But the real magic isn't just in the minerals, it's in the medicine. The cardoon is a cousin to milk thistle, a plant famous in herbal medicine circles. Like its cousin, the cardoon is loaded with silymarin and a specific compound called cynarin. Cynarin is a heavy hitter physiologically. It stimulates the liver to produce bile, which is the body's primary mechanism for flushing out toxins and digesting fats. When you eat cardoon, you are not just getting fiber, you are actively helping your liver filter your blood. It is a functional food in the truest sense, a liver tonic that you can grill. And it has one more secret weapon hiding in its purple flowers: cardosin. This is a powerful enzyme that acts like rennet. For centuries, shepherds in Portugal did not kill calves to get rennet for cheese making. They soaked cardoon flowers in milk. It is a natural vegetarian cheesemaker encoded into the DNA of a weed. The fall of the cardoon is a classic case of sibling rivalry. The cardoon has a biological brother, the globe artichoke. They are actually the same species, but they were bred for different traits. The globe artichoke was bred to produce a massive, fleshy flower bud. The cardoon was bred to produce massive, fleshy stems. For thousands of years they coexisted, but as agriculture moved into the industrial age, farmers hit a snag with the cardoon. It is high maintenance. To make a cardoon taste amazing, to ensure it is creamy, white, and sweet rather than bitter and stringy, you have to do something called blanching. About a month before harvest, a farmer goes out into the field, bundles the giant leaves together, and wraps the stalks in straw, burlap, or earth. This blocks the sunlight. Without sun, photosynthesis stops. The chlorophyll fades, and the bitter compounds drain away, leaving a sweet, tender stalk. This process produces a vegetable fit for an emperor, but it is a nightmare for a tractor. You cannot mechanically wrap thousands of plants in burlap. It requires human hands. The globe artichoke, on the other hand, just sits there. You cut the bud, toss it in a box, and sell it for $4 a piece. The cardoon was abandoned, not because it was not good, but because the modern agricultural system views manual labor as a defect. We bred out the work, and in doing so, we bred out the nutrition and the yield. But nature rarely takes a firing lying down. When settlers brought the cardoon to the Americas, specifically to the rich soils of the Argentine pampas and the valleys of California, it eventually escaped the garden. Out in the wild, without a farmer to wrap it in burlap, the cardoon reverted to its primal state. It grew spines. It grew massive. It stopped being a vegetable and started being a conqueror. In California today, the wild version is known as artichoke thistle, and it is listed as a noxious weed. There is a supreme irony here. We have food banks in California struggling to source fresh vegetables, while the state government spends millions spraying herbicides on tons of wild, gourmet food. We are poisoning a liver-cleansing superfood because it grew too well in the wrong zip code. We label it a villain because it is successful without our permission. Now, a word of caution. You might be tempted to pull your car over on the Pacific Coast Highway and hack down a wild cardoon. Do not do this. Because this plant is classified as a noxious weed, it is one of the most heavily sprayed plants in the American West. State agencies spray these wild patches with industrial-strength herbicides, such as glyphosate and 2,4-D. You cannot wash that off. Eating roadside cardoon is a game of chemical roulette you will lose. Furthermore, Wild artichoke thistle has evolved to be far spikier than the cultivated heirloom varieties. Processing it is a literal pain. Instead, you need to bring this giant back to the garden sanctuary. You want to buy certified heirloom seeds. For the most historical experience, you can buy seeds directly from the Monticello shop, growing the exact lineage that Thomas Jefferson cultivated. Alternatively, Baker Creek or Amazon offers excellent varieties like Rouge d'Alger or Gobodinitsa. These varieties are bred to be tender and manageable. Here is how you grow the emperor's vegetable. Cardoons are hardy in USDA Zone 7 and warmer as perennials, meaning they come back every year. In cooler zones, like Zone 5 or Zone 6, you can grow them as annuals if you start them indoors early, just like you would a tomato. You need space. A single cardoon plant can grow 4 feet wide and 6 feet tall. It is architectural. It looks like a prehistoric silver fountain. It will be the centerpiece of your yard. Plant the seeds in spring after the last frost. They love full sun and rich soil. Then bring back the lost art of blanching. You do not need burlap if you do not have it. About 3 to 4 weeks before you want to eat it, gather the leaves up into a bundle and wrap the base of the plant in cardboard or black plastic trash bags, tying it off with twine. Mound dirt up around the base. This turns the stalks white, sweet, and tender. Be aware, cardoon is an aggressive reseeder. If you let it flower, it will try to conquer your yard just like it conquered the pampas. Cut the flower heads off before they turn to fluff. Unless, of course, you want to harvest the purple petals to make your own vegetarian cheese. The flavor of a homegrown, blanched cardoon is complex. It is not one note like celery. It tastes like an artichoke heart, celery, and salsify had a baby. It is savory, meaty, and rich, perfect for braising in stock or frying in breadcrumbs. By growing cardoon, you are doing something radical. You are rejecting the convenience culture that gave us the watery celery stick. You are choosing a vegetable that demands a little respect, a pair of leather gloves, and a few weeks of patience. In exchange, it gives you a harvest that supports your liver, fills your pantry in the dead of winter, and connects you to a lineage of eating that stretches back to the founding of this country. Do not settle for the pampered artichoke. Grow the wildfather. If you want to discover more plants that have been erased from history, hit that subscribe button for Ancestral yields. We have more forgotten giants to discuss, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. See you in the garden.